as you may be aware, I've got chronic diseases, diabetic and hypertensive, which needs doctor's attention from time to time. But when I was in prison, I was not afforded an opportunity to see the doctors. Despite all that, I've forgiven all the people that did that, because it's part of life. There's been a lot of politicians that have gone to prison. I'm not the first one, and I'm not the last one.
Wow. But how are you, generally?
Well, I'm getting better. Immediately I got out of prison, I went to see my specialist doctors in South Africa. They changed my medication, and my BP has now been maintained. My diabetes levels are okay. And yesterday I just came back from a review in South Africa where I was having a small procedure on my arm. You may be aware that I've had a problem since I was in an accident. But they've started a certain procedure which I cannot disclose, just to try and sort out my arm. The doctors advised me, because without the arm sling, I feel a lot of pain. But the doctor says, when you are feeling the pain and you are using your hand, that will be the process of healing. So I was advised to remove it, and I'm depending on painkillers, and it's getting better. The procedure that I had yesterday has even made it more comfortable.
Right. Beyond your gelling, not really to trigger your emotions further, but beyond your gelling, I know that you've been through a lot, you know, Dr. Kambwili. You lost your brother, you know, Mr. Mutale. And of course, you've lost quite a number of relatives of late. The people of Zambia would want to find out, how have you managed to put yourself together?
God first. God first. You see, when you believe in God and you put all your troubles, tribulations before God, you don't have a problem. And that is why, when you look at the death of my two brothers in the same accident when we were going to Kasama for the court case, obviously you attribute it to political intimidation and political persecution. Because they were escorting me to go and answer to a political case. But I can tell you that because I believe in God and I know that these things happen in life, I have forgiven whoever was involved in the death of my two brothers. And I've said, if God allowed it for them to die this time, who am I? So, in a nutshell, I have forgiven all the people that contributed to the death of my two brothers, and I've moved on.
What has been your reflection so far in terms of, I mean, you having been jailed over what is described as hate speech? You know, what has been your reflection so far?
My reflection is that Zambia must change the way we do politics. This type of politics where you want to come and have something like vengeance against perceived people that persecuted you when you are in the opposition must come to an end. Because this is what is causing these unnecessary tensions in the country. And I think it's time that we Zambians must agree that whoever has an attitude or whoever thinks of vengeance against people using political office must never be allowed to go into political office. Because as long as these persecutions, political persecutions continue, Zambia will never heal from the tension and the differences that we're experiencing now.
Would you simply say that your jailing was basically out of maybe someone's anger or someone's appetite to revenge?
Precisely. Precisely, but I don't even understand revenging against me for what. Because for me, my attitude is that I don't differ with people and put it to heart. I may differ with you today, tomorrow we are smiling. I easily forgive. I don't harbor resentment. I don't harbor hatred. I don't believe in vengeance, because the Bible tells us that vengeance is for God. You have, well, nobody on this earth doesn't differ with people. I've differed with so many people at times, but whether they insult me, they injure me, the following day I forgive and forget, and I come back to myself, and I'll meet anybody and we'll continue being friends.
A lot has happened in the Republic of Zambia. I know in your absence when you were in jail, whether or not you were following the happening in the country, I do not know. But fact remains that a lot of things have happened. I will take you quickly, I'll take you back in terms of how do you describe Zambia today under the UPND administration. I know that yesterday the head of state addressed the country via a press conference. Let's begin from there. What did you pick from what the president talked about?
Yesterday's press conference by the president, first, it was not necessary. Secondly, it was a disaster. It was a disaster because the president exposed himself for who he is. And that is very, very dangerous. You see, from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. What the president portrayed yesterday, or what the president showed the people of Zambia, that he doesn't believe in national unity. He's not a person who believes in national unity. He's very divisive. And if nothing is done by maybe the church, the elders in this country, senior citizens, to advise the president to avoid certain statements in public, then Zambia is heading for a civil war or civil strife. Because where a person starts saying that certain regions were discriminated against in terms of creating new constituencies, that you hate me because I come from Southern Province, that certain regions have not been given an opportunity to participate freely in the affairs of this country, when the opposite is the truth. Kenneth Kaunda fought very hard to bring this country together. Kenneth Kaunda coined a motto for this country: one Zambia, one nation. And I get surprised when I look at the president's insistence on ethnicity. I am so shocked that the past 4 years, the word ethnicity does not skip on the mind of the president. Wherever he is, whatever he does, you hear him talk about ethnicity. I don't understand where he gets this notion that, you know, certain tribes are not liked in this country, and that certain tribes, certain people have you know, an idea, or they've made the decision that certain tribes can never be in the leadership of this country, when the opposite is the truth. So, if the president does not tame his language, tame his tongue, is going to throw this country into very, very serious problems. Particularly, let me pick this issue of him claiming that certain regions in this country have been discriminated against in terms of creating new constituencies under delimitation. That is an excellent lie. That is an excellent lie. I can give you statistics from my phone for you to see how the constituencies have been distributed in this country. Right. And in my view, the only people that, the only region that can claim that they've had a low, they've not been treated very well, are people in Lusaka and on the Copper Belt. Why do I say so? It is because our constitution states that delimitation shall be done in accordance with the population. Population density is the basis on which you create constituencies. It's not geographical size. So to claim that certain constitutions are so large in geographical size and need to be delimited is an offside. Lusaka alone, let's pick Mandevu, for instance. Mandevu has got over 150,000 registered voters. Now, if they've got 150,000 registered voters, what is the population of Mandevu? Let's pick Monze, for instance, or pick Mporokoso, because Mporokoso, where I come from, is a very huge constituency in terms of geographical size. But the population is very small. Are you telling me that it is fair to give the same constituency development fund amount to Mandevu, who has close to 1 million or so residents, and then you go and give the same 25 to Mporokoso, which is large in terms of geographical size, but very small population. And if you are going to say that we are going to create 2 constituencies in Mporokoso, which has a relatively low density population, you are not being fair to the people in Mandevu. You are not being fair to the people in Mandevu. So when we look at delimitation, the first thing we should look at is the population. Because if you are going to follow geographical size, then you should come up with an idea where you say that those constituencies that in terms of geographical size are small, but with a lot of population, then you should say that those with a lot of population must receive 3 times the constituency development fund. But our president is saying the reason why they want to do delimitation in the large geographical constituencies is for the purpose of giving them more CDF. That to me doesn't make sense. That to me doesn't make sense. Who needs more classrooms? An area where there are 1 million people and an area where there are 25,000 people. Who needs more classrooms? Who needs more hospitals? Now, if you are going to give more money to a large constituency which has a small population, and you give the same constituency to a relatively small geographical constituency but with more people, then you are being unfair. Equity is not there. So when the president talks about these issues of delimitation and creating new constituencies, he must have it in mind that you cannot give more money to a place like Mporokoso where there are more trees than human beings. The whole purpose is to improve the living standards of the human beings. So if you give more money to Mporokoso than you are giving to Mandevu, it means that you are being unfair to those in Mandevu and favoring the people in Mporokoso. So this notion must not be accepted. And like I said, I can give you statistics of the distribution of constituencies in this country. And if what the president said, particularly about the people of Southern Province, is anything to go by, it's being unfair.
How?
To other regions. The statistics that I'm going to give you will show you that is being untruthful with his pronouncements. Let me just get this, these statistics. Right, we are here. The distribution of constituencies in this country as of today is as follows. Muchinga province has got 10 constituencies. Northwestern province has got 12 constituencies. Lusaka province has got 13 constituencies. Northern province has got 13 constituencies. Luapula province has got 15 constituencies. Central province has got 16 constituencies. Eastern province has got 18 constituencies. Southern province has got 18 constituencies. Western province has got 19 constituencies. Copper Belt has 22. Now, when you look at this distribution and you consider the census report of 2025, you would see that, in fact, Lusaka, Copper Belt have had a small deal in terms of delimitation of constituencies, because they've got more people than any other area in this country, any other region in this country. So I don't understand where the president was saying some regions have been discriminated against. If he was talking about the Copper Belt and Lusaka, then he was right.
Right.
But if he's talking about any other region, whether northern, southern, eastern, the distribution of the constituencies has been relatively fair to all of them. So the president was misleading the people. In fact, is the one who wants to discriminate against certain areas in terms of creating constituencies. And I will justify my statement.
Right.
Every year when there is delimitation, and by the way, delimiting constituencies is provided in the national constitution, and it says every 10 years. The reason is simple. Zambia is growing at an average of 3.5 per annum in terms of population. So you cannot keep the same constituencies when the population is growing at that rate. So every 10 years you review the population. And that is why the drafters of the constitution were very careful to give a 10-year period in which you come and review boundaries and delimited constituencies. And it must be skewed towards those areas that will have more population, an increase in population, not the size in terms of geographical size. So when you look at the president's pronouncement that they want to delimitate, and he goes to say, you want another person to come and do the delimitation and not me? And what gives him the thought that somebody else is coming other than him? You see, the Constitution is not a personal document. A Constitution belongs to all the people of Zambia. So it doesn't matter which president in the State House to do the delimitation. As long as you are following the norms, the minimum requirement, you are following the major reason that triggers constituency delimitation, which is population. It doesn't matter who's there. Because anybody who will come will just see there's been an increase in population in this constituency. We need to delimitate, to carry out delimitation. So for him to say you want another person to come and do it and not me is also a very, very careless statement. Extremely careless statement coming from the head of state. The head of state must have a language of building and uniting the people of Zambia. Now, when we talk about the president saying that he wants to delimitate, every time there is delimitation, there is a committee that is appointed to go around the country, look at the development in those areas, look at the population in those areas, and renders a report to the president. Before you do any delimitation, you need to publish that report so that you and I, every Zambian, would be able to say, oh, no, Western province now the population has increased. Yes, we need to delimitate. Right. Oh, which of the constituencies are here marked for delimitation? Today, stakeholders have called the president many times, release the delimitation report. He has refused. Now, when a person refuses to release the report on which the delimitation is going to be based, he's being mischievous. No question about it. He's being mischievous. That is why he can say some areas were discriminated, because he has got a huge motive towards delimitation. If the president wants us to support Bill 7, particularly in terms of delimitation, let him produce the report. If he doesn't produce the report, he should not go ahead with delimitation. We don't want to be caught unaware. We don't want to be caught napping. Because the basis of delimitation, like I've said, is population.
Right.
So let's look at, let Central Statistics Office publish the population in all the areas, in all the constituencies. And then on the other side, they give us a report of the constituencies that they want to delimitate. then we'll support the president. We'll tell him, go ahead and delimitate. And by the way, you don't need to change the constitution to do delimitation. Even himself, HH said it when we were looking at Bill 10. I remember very well he had a marker. Yeah. He displayed the marker to the people of Zambia and said, look, Lungu should not lie to you that you need constitution amendment to delimitate. And he removed the lead, the pen lead, and said, delimitation is just this small amount of the bigger pen. His example is the pen. Meaning, therefore, that indeed you don't need to change the constitution to delimitate. Just like when President Michael Sata created new districts, 6 constituencies were created. They were delimited. Did we change the constitution? Now, the problem with our president is that what he says is not what he does. He would say something and go and do the other thing. Even here, on the basis of dialogue, when we come to dialogue,
we'll get to that.
I want us to
deal with this matter first of all.
So this constitution-making process has not been done in good faith. There is no way. Let's ask the British. Let's ask the Americans. Let's ask the South Africans, where you can say that we are going to do constitution amendment. First, you take a bill. When that bill is rejected in Parliament, when that bill is declared null and void by the court, you leave it in Parliament without withdrawing it, then you come and appoint a technical committee first. Which comes first? Consulting the people or drafting of the bill? Drafting of the bill is a final stage of constitution amendment. Now, if you are going to start with a bill, then you come and appoint a technical committee. And the terms of reference are exactly what is in the bill that was declared null and void. There must be something wrong with you. There must be something wrong with you. What the president should have done is that he should have said, okay, we've withdrawn the bill. Then he says, now we want Zambians to submit on what they want changed in the constitution. He appoints a technical committee. The technical committee now comes up with the terms of reference. These terms of reference are sent to the people. We should not have a constitution amendment which is driven by the president. That is very dangerous. Extremely dangerous. Presidents will come and go. Zambia citizens will remain. That is why it is important that it must be the citizens to drive the constitution amendment. It must be the citizens to suggest what should be in the constitution and not the president or the executive.
Just based on that, let me just throw in 1 or 2 questions, Doc. I think this example was cited yesterday by the president when he gave an example about how Michael Sata the late, managed to delimitate some constituencies under the PF administration where you belonged yourself at some point. And according to him, he said it was just mere instructions he gave to parliamentarians, you yourselves as parliamentarians at the time, and all you did was basically to rubber stamp whatever Michael Sata wanted. So you may get a notion that perhaps one will say, an ordinary citizen will say, maybe the President Michael Sata the late did not follow the right procedure in delimitating the constituencies.
That is misleading.
Meaning that yourselves as members of parliament at the time, you just acted in favor of one man called the late Michael Sata.
That is misleading. That is misleading. You and I know that Michael Sata, when coming up with the new districts, consulted widely. And when he made pronouncements that he was going to create these districts, we never saw any objection from anybody. We never saw any objections. We never saw the Oasis Forum. We never saw the church saying you cannot create these districts. Everybody agreed with him. And when it was taken to Parliament to make a provision, legal provision, for those constituencies, nobody not even the UPND MPs objected. Now this time around, you want to do a constitution amendment where 90% of the people of Zambia have said no. You have a crisis. So you cannot compare the two. Where you bring a policy, people don't object to the policy. Where you bring a policy, people object to the policy. Because power is vested in the president, and he must act for and on behalf of the people of Zambia. So if the people of Zambia say, no, we don't want this, you must stop it. If the people of Zambia say, go ahead, there was no acrimony whatsoever when Michael Sata delimited those constituencies. Everybody supported. And by the way, during the 2016 Constitution Amendment, the people who drove the Constitution Amendment was the UPND. You remember very well, at one time, they left their seats, the entire UPND MPs, and went and stood in the middle of Parliament, which was unprocedural. Because if you don't agree with anything in Parliament, all you do is you walk out, or you say, question. But then they went in the middle of Parliament and said, we are not going to move from here until you tell us when you are bringing the bill for constitution amendment. And President Lungu was magnanimous enough. He said, okay, we'll take the bill to Parliament. So it was an agreed position by both the opposition and the ruling that we needed those amendments. And there were two important issues why everybody wanted that amendment. One was to introduce the running mate. Second was to introduce it was the running mate and
50 plus 1%.
50 plus 1%. Yeah. So you can see that when the bill came to Parliament, none, including the UPND, refused that we are not going to support this amendment. Everybody was in agreement. But now, the people of Zambia have said no. PF parliamentarians have said no. Why do you want to force this constitutional amendment? Then you are being mischievous. And let us learn to be sincere as leaders. Let us learn to be sincere. Where have you ever seen consultation of the people within 15 days? Where? When I heard that there will be a consultation of the citizens in terms of the constitution amendment, and the period that was given was, I think, from the 28th of October to the 15th or 16th of November. I said, yangu tata mayo ngechicha isa chinshi. Because to me, nifina tutila muchibemba mipamba. When you are doing consultation, you go district by district, physically, not virtual. You go to the provincial center and you say, we've consulted Northern Province. Northern Province is not Kasama. You go to Monze, Chochoma, and say, we've consulted the people of Southern Province. Southern Province is not, Choma is not Southern Province. So when you look at all these things that the president has done, there are things that have never been done anyway. That's why he likes saying it is the first time. And this is the first time in a wrong way. Because I can't believe it, that people were consulted. Constitution-making process from appointing the technical committee to coming up with a draft takes not less than 2 years. Not less than 2 years. But this one, Mwelesa was twafweni. Usheva president wesu Mwelesa mwabafunishe kwi. Where did you get this HH Noktuletela? Because what the man is doing is unbelievable. We have become a laughing stock. If I were him, I would have just said, forgive us, people of Zambia. I've heard your voice that you don't want this. We move on. We are going to have the elections based on the old constitution. Because he's not being truthful. He called for dialogue with the Oasis Forum and the church mother bodies. Before they could meet, he calls a press conference and announces that we are going ahead with the constitution making process. When he's calling for dialogue on the other side. So he's not being sincere with the dialogue. And as long as dialogue does not encompass give and take, it's not dialogue. You want to go for dialogue, you've already made up your mind. And you even pronounce that for us we are going ahead. Do you expect that the other party will come for the dialogue? I want to thank the church mother bodies together with Oasis Forum because they've shown leadership. Despite the fact that the man announced I'm going ahead, they've said on Friday we are going to meet you. Well done, Oasis Forum. Two wrongs do not make a right. Go and try your luck. But the way I know my brother is a one-way traffic. It's one-way traffic. When he decides that I'm going to do this, nobody, not even God, can tell him to change his mind. But that is not leadership. That is not leadership, Mr. President. You need to listen to the people. You are exercising that power that you have, that has been given to you by the Constitution, in the interest of the people of Zambia. And once the people of Zambia say we don't want this, please stop it. You won't lose anything. Saying sorry is not a weakness. It's actually a strength. So we expect the president to provide leadership, even at this late hour, over this constitution-making process. And you'll be a big man. Everybody will say we are the president who listened. But let's watch the space.
Is he also concerned, I think when the UPND came in power, they've been talking about prudence utilization of public funds. You know, that's something which President Hakainde Hichilema has been preaching to the people of Zambia, that look, we're here as a UPND, we will not be careless in as far as public funds usage is concerned. So when you talk about the constitution and its making process, if you ask me, maybe, I'm just saying maybe, he's also looking at preserving the resources. I think he has spoken to this matter, that we will not overspend the money on this. I know that some of you, you'd want us to perpetuate this process so that you could perhaps benefit out of this through these stakeholders or consultations. When this country has had a lot of reviews, constitutional reviews, commissions in this country, why can't we just go back there and look at non-controversial, you know, clauses and then put the pieces together? And that's what it's all about.
Life is dynamic, my young man, IP. Life is dynamic. The population we have now is not the population we had then. The people we have now are not the people we had then. You see, there's this Gen Zs, the young people that are coming up. Do they agree with what Wakaunda's thinking was? Would they agree with what Vasata's thinking was? Would they agree with what CHISHIMBA KAMBWILI's thinking was? They need to bring in their own ideas that they want to be in the Constitution. And that is why there is a provision to amend the Constitution. You move with time. You can not therefore say that let's just go and pick up what people submitted.
Yeah.
This is a computer age. What people submitted were based on analog. Today we are digital. Allow the digital young men and women who have come on the scene to bring what they feel the Constitution must have. And by the way, there is no constitution-making process which is cheap. There is no constitution-making process which is cheap. If the constitution-making process is cheap, the product will be cheap. So to say that we don't want, I mean, government has been spending money on a lot of things that sometimes you would think is a waste of money. For instance, the most talked about Constituency Development Fund, if you follow it so much, you find that those loans, grants that they are giving, they are only giving among themselves as UPND. And most of the people that are given don't even pay back. Most of the people that are given grants don't even use them to improve their living standards. They just go to buy chicken and chips and it ends there. That's a wastage. I am not saying that we should stop grants and loans to our people. We should give grants and loans to our people and guide them on how to use the money. Monitor them that they are using this money. Make sure they are paying back. Without those basic requirements, it's a waste of money. So why should we say? Because the Constitution defines who we are. The Constitution gives instructions to all the office bearers of government on how to conduct themselves, including the president. The Constitution regulates the president. So why would you not want to spend money on a process that is going to come up with good governance, on a process that is going to come up with the rule of law, on the process that is going to improve the living standards of your people? Because if you have a bad constitution, you cannot improve the living standards of your people. If you have a bad constitution, the judiciary will not function. If you have a bad constitution, parliament will not function. Now, if the country cannot function in all areas, that's a disaster. So that's a lame excuse. That's a lame excuse. Put money in constitution making process. And by the way, I don't even know why we are talking about the constitution amendment when we haven't paid attention to the Bill of Rights. During the 2016 constitution amendment, the Bill of Rights was part of it. The UPND fought against it. Today, it still remains outstanding.
It's not the UPND that fought against it. According to the president yesterday, said that the people of Zambia fought against it.
No, he's the one who said, don't go and vote for the Bill of Rights, vote against it. It's on record. And that's why I said the problem with our brother, he says something and does the other. And he forgets very easily. The provisions in Bill 7 are exactly the same provisions in Bill 7, which him and I fought tooth and nail until we defeated it. Why has he changed his position today? Because there are certain provisions that he wants to put there to advantage his stay in power. And you see, where I come from, they say, insoni ewuntu. Insoni ewuntu. Aka kunyelele takalabwa. Wakule teshi, wakula mushimbe. Wakule teshi, wakula mushimbe. When you touch a document that has to do with the living standards and the lives of the people, then you are playing with the entire populace in the country. And that's why you can say, abantu na bampata. Because we are doing the wrong thing. How does President Hakainde Hichilema today come and said, people hate me because I'm Tonga? When he was voted by 2.8 million people in Zambia, the largest.
I think I remember I said maybe people hate this guy or this man because of where I was born from.
That's what I'm talking about.
I didn't choose where
that's what I'm talking
yes.
about. Why would people hate him today because he comes from Southern Province? People are complaining. And by the way, it's not good to hate somebody. I don't hate President Hakainde Hichilema. And I'll tell the people of Zambia, don't hate the man. Just correct him. Because hating somebody is actually a sin in the Bible. Why would you hate a human being created by God? Just love them. My dear friend, the president, people don't hate you. They are just complaining about the way you are running the country. They are complaining about the way you want to push this constitution amendment. Listen, listen, listen.
He gave a unique example. Sorry to curtail you shortly, Honorable. He gave a unique example that when you look at the history of this country, and the constitutional making process, how it has been done in the past, you go and itemize each and every president who has been in charge of this country. Talk about Mwanawasa, talk about Kaunda, talk about Iseo himself. This nation did not see this kind of an opposition where the constitutional making process is concerned. It was easy for them to do that, but under HH, it appears everybody is adamant of wanting HH not to touch the constitution. Why the venom? Why the hate?
You see, that's why I said Mwele.
There were no protests whatsoever. That's
why I
said.
said earlier on Mwele Saushe HH wamfunishe kui. Because not long ago, just 2021, there were protests against Bill 10. There were protests. There was a yellow card campaign. And members of UPND were in the forefront protesting against the constitution making process. When Chiluba wanted to change the constitution to bring in the third term, there were protests by the Oasis Forum, the Catholic Church, the EFZ, the CCZ. There were protests. Unless the man wants to be economical with the truth, then I understand. If he wants to be economical with the truth, then I understand. The problem that we have with our president again is his propensity to lie. His propensity to tell lies even when he knows that it's not correct. How does he say there were no protests in the constitution making process in the past? When he knows indeed the Oasis Forum was actually established to fight the eminent constitution change by Chiluba to bring in the third term. And they fought and protested. My dear sister Laura Miti and Funga whatever is called Pilato were arrested in Great East Road when they were protesting against Bill 10. And when they were arrested, they were taken to court. The court acquitted them and said, first and foremost, it was their human rights enshrined in the Constitution to demonstrate. Secondly, that they had notified the police. They were acquitted. Are you telling me that my dear brother HH never saw all this? There has always been, when people of Zambia are not happy with something, they protest. And it's not good to stop protests. Right. Protests are a reminder to those in authority that we are not happy with this. And I don't think in the last 4 years of President Hakainde Hichilema's leadership, we have seen any protests. That is being undemocratic.
We've seen them.
We've only seen them on one
examples.
side. We've seen them on one side.
Right.
We saw the University of Zambia marching from the University of Zambia campus to State House in solidarity of his leadership. That was okay for him. 2-3 weeks ago, we saw almost all towns in Zambia protesting in solidarity and condemning the stoning of the president in Chingola, which I also condemn. You cannot stone the president or the office of the president. What happened in Chingola was total lawlessness that must not be allowed. In fact, if I were him, heads will roll. A lot of people should have been fired. In the security wings, in the intelligence, a lot of people should have been fired. But you see, when you massage a situation, like the way the president has massaged the Chingola issue, you have a problem. And you know what causes this? It's because when you appoint your friends, your relatives, and your party members into positions like IG, you fail to remove them even when they've committed an offense. You are not being serious. Muchibe bat ukutenekesha amafi na muchilonda. This Chingola issue, there should have been action that people should have seen that indeed it should never be repeated. But in my view, the action has been very lukewarm. So, what I'm trying to say is that let us be truthful with what we say and with what we do. It is not good to massage situations. So when you talk about dialogue, let us be sincere. Don't go for dialogue 2 days before the dialogue. By the way, the Oasis Forum and the church mother bodies responded and said, okay, we have put off this demonstration.
Yeah.
We want to go and meet the president. If I were him, I could have not gone to address that press conference and is pouring scorn on the church and the Oasis Forum. What the president did to call the church as haters. Shikolo, by church, please. Tuafweni. The church has always fought for the people of Zambia. They've never been partisan. You see, when the head of state creates an environment for anarchy, the supporters become anarchists. What I've read on social media, if at all it is true, it is very dangerous. And it is showing that from what the president said yesterday, his disciples are now following suit. Listen to this from Larry Mwetwa, who you and I know is a disciple of President Hakainde Hichilema.
Just
If
establish
indeed,
first of all, who is Rally Mwetwa for the viewers who may
Rally Mwetwa, in fact, is a civil servant now. He's an assistant director in one of the ministries. He has been UPND supporter. He has been chief cadre of the UPND. He was resident in the UK. In fact, he was living in exile because he was scared of the previous government. Immediately this government came in, he came back to Zambia and he was given a job. Now, I am not saying that he said this, but it has gone out on social media. The onus is on him to actually make a clarification as to whether he said it. But I think it's in public domain. Listen to what he said. As a result of the careless statement that came from the head of state, Rally Mwetwa writes on his Facebook, it is alleged, he wrote on his Facebook to say that, where is that Rally Mwetwa? It's reported by Nkani. It says that the Catholic Church hates the Tonga people. They think that they are not Zambians. We are in trouble. We are dividing the nation. I am a Catholic, devoted Catholic. We have a lot of Tongas in the Catholic Church. How would somebody say the Catholic Church hates Tongas? That is a very careless and divisive statement. But you can see that this statement has not come from nowhere.
I haven't seen that statement.
Even if
so far,
people are lying.
So let's confirm that that's your own statement. You haven't come across anywhere.
Well, I've just read it on social media, reported on Nkani.
That.
Yes. And Nkani is a well-known site. They can clarify. And I'm throwing the onus on Rally Mwetwa to confirm whether he said this or not.
Right.
I am not 100% that he said it, and I'm not accusing him of anything. But I'm only giving an example.
Right.
That when the head of state gives a careless statement, his disciples will pick it up and think it is normal. Just like when my brother from Wengwa, the MP, said Kadalism is back, you saw what followed. PF Secretariat attacked, Luminda attacked, this, that. It's because of
he did actually apologize. That's Honorable Mijero Kasauta.
Which is very good.
He apologized actually for that. Maybe just to authenticate what you're talking about, let's just watch a video of Honorable Mijero Kasauta so that as you are speaking, the Zambian people follow this conversation. Let's have a video, director.
Northern Province, Northwestern Province. Today we have declared Kadarism has started. kuno bambogozwa ijindi ba president ne bagita declare no cadarism uzwa ni bagita declare no cadarism twabona kwamba kuti ba president babaderera alimi twabona kwamba kuti alo inkamu bayiderera. Now we want to show them the way we are.
I'm hosting Honorable CHISHIMBA KAMBWILI, who is the PF presidential candidate, former Minister of Information, as well as former Member of Parliament for Roni constituents. We are diving into various issues, of course, ranging from the press briefing, or press conference, as it were, addressed by President Hakainde Hichilema. That's a video, Honorable, you referred to.
Yes, that's precisely the video that I referred to. So after my dear brother said that, and the Copper Belt Minister also said, made similar sentiments. The Minister of Transport and Communication tayari said similar sentiments. The cadres thought we have now been given an instruction, a blank check, to go and commit cadarism, to go and do these things, because our leaders have given us a go-ahead. That is the danger of the president being careless in addressing the nation. When the president comes to address the nation, we expect nothing but decorum. And the message that comes from him must be that of building, national building, and not dividing the nation. You see, my brother, what he's trying to do is trying to secure the Southern Province vote. That statement was meant to secure the Southern Province vote, creating a narrative that you people are hated, and that if you don't vote for me, you vote for any other person, they will not look after you because they hate you. That is dangerous. I want to appeal to my good brothers and sisters, Bamunyinane, mweba ku Southern Province. Mumfwe mweba munyinane. Don't follow that narrative. That narrative is offside. Nobody hates the Tonga people. Me, I'm a good example. I've been accused before that I hate the Tonga people.
Yeah.
But my own daughter is married to a Tonga. 2 of my daughters are married to Tongas. There is my son-in-law in the studio. My young brother is married to Tonga. My young sister is married to a Kabeta, a Tonga. Many of my relatives are married Tongas. And you know the reason why? My family is predominantly Seventh-day Adventist. And in the Seventh-day Adventist, the main tribes there are Bemba and Tonga. And they intermarry within the church. And we accept. In Salamu shonse shobalete shaba ichebandi ukupa kubatonga ninempokelela. If I was a tribalist or I hate the people of Southern Province, I would say no, tetupe kulioyu, because I haven't to perform. But I've never done that. So when I'm appealing to you, the good people of Southern Province, that don't follow the narrative from our president, he will go, Zambia will remain, and you will remain. Treat every person who stands as president. Look at his ability to perform. Look at how you are living. Is this president who is there, whether he's Bemba, is Tumbuka, is he giving us the service that we require? Don't look at a person who's telling you that they hate you. Because it's creating a narrative that you people should only vote for me because the other people hate you. Mr. President, Zambia deserves an apology and a retraction of that statement. That statement is very divisive. And if you don't retract, people will look at you as a very bad person, very bad leader. And that is why probably you are complaining that people hate you. You must do an introspection. Why is it that 2.8 million people just 4 years ago voted for me, and you are complaining that now they hate you? What has gone wrong? What has gone wrong? Do an introspection.
How is the rating so far from where you stand? You as a veteran politician in this country, how is the rating of President Hakainde Hichilema, and how much has been ridiculed, how much is being insulted on social media, comparing to the past leaders we've had?
My brother, I would say that all the leaders have had their share of criticism from the people. There's been no leader in this country who has not been criticized. All the leaders have been criticized. In fact, the person who has done more criticizing of the leaders in this country from the 1991 when we went into multi-party politics is President Hakainde Hichilema himself. He was very critical of all the presidents. Very critical. The only person he didn't criticize was Chiluba, because at that time he wasn't on the political scene. From Chiluba, there was Mwanawasa. He criticized Mwanawasa. And Mwanawasa told us, he warned us, that you see the problem with HH is he can do anything, including lying to get to State House. And today, I leave it to the people of Zambia to prove whether what Mwanawasa said was not correct.
To the contrary, if you ask the UPND and maybe the president himself via the press conferences we have covered within the media, he'll tell you that this country was divided before we came in. And living up to the mandate of the UPND, which came into power to unite the country, we have managed to unite all the tribes. Today you can get employment or get a job in government not because you are IP from Eastern Province, not because you are Honorable CHISHIMBA from Mprokoso or Northern Province, but because you are a Zambian.
Lip service. Lip service. This country is more divided on tribal lines than it has ever been since 1991. I'm not counting the Kaunda days, because there was some kind of division when we just got independence, but Kaunda managed it. And that is how he coined the One Zambia, One Nation. If you remember very well, Venon VJ Mwanga wrote a book, A Night Without the President, that Kaunda resigned one night because of tribalism. And he made sure he brought everybody together. Where we've gone wrong as a country in terms of tribal building is this tendency. A DC in Mazabuka must be Tonga. A DC in Kasama must be Bemba. A DC in Chipata must be Eastern Province. As long as we keep this thing like that, we are not going to unite the country. Let an Easterner be appointed DC in Southern Province. Let somebody from Western Province be appointed DC in Mporokoso. Then we are going to see real uniting of this country. It starts with the leadership. It starts with the leadership. I don't want to dwell much about employment in the civil service today under President Hakainde Hichilema. It is in black and white. Ask the civil servants how other people from other tribes are being treated. Ask the civil servants. Just bring in the parastatals. Look at the appointments of the chief executive officers. Look at the appointment of the boards. It is in black and white. Let us be sincere sometimes and say, look, I've made a mistake. I'm ready to change. But to try and fool the people, one Zambia, one nation, one Zambia, one nation, what we are doing behind the one Zambia, one nation is contrary to our pronouncements. We need tribal balancing in all sectors, whether being foreign service, whether being at permanent secretary level, whether being at minister level. You cannot just say, no, our cabinet is well balanced. In fact, there are more 8 members in cabinet than any other tribe, and you think you are uniting the country. It must be beyond the cabinet.
Let's put to a close this issue of the protest by the Oasis Forum. Of course, the Oasis Forum or the conveners of this protest have heeded to the advice of the president that will not go ahead with the protest. But again, I think the president he gave an emphasis. Look, you cannot. Yes, you've mentioned that we have had protests in the past, people protesting against the constitutional making process. But maybe those protests have occurred in this country based on the listening ear from the sitting heads of states in the past. The head of state said, look, this door you want to break is open. Why should you come and break State House door, which is your office, and yet I'm available to receive you. I'm available to hear from you.
Can I tell you something for nothing?
Please.
Having gotten close to my brother and worked with him for a very short time, me, I'm able to read a person within a very short period of time. The problem that my brother has, what he calls dialogue, is not actually dialogue at all. When he invites people to State House that let's dialogue, instead of listening from them, he goes to lecture them. I have been told by one bishop when I was asking him that please, we are now getting out of hand in this country. Why can't you go to State House, advise the president? This bishop told me, my dear brother, I will never go to State House for dialogue, because the last time we were there, the 2 last times I've been there, instead of the president listening, he was just lecturing to us. We never even had an opportunity to tell him or to pour our hearts to him. So my brother must change in all aspects and learn to listen from others. There is no dialogue which is one-sided. Like I said, dialogue must encompass the issue of give and take. If you are dialoguing and one doesn't want to give or take, then you expect the other side just to take, then that is not dialogue at all. That is not dialogue at all. Just like the situation we are talking about, the issue we are talking about. The Oasis Forum says we'll meet the president, and the date is on Friday. On Tuesday, the president holds a press conference, and he says, I'm going ahead with constitution amendment issues. Now, what is that? What dialogue are you talking about when you've made up your mind? Ichivemba chitila tabashashilelola. Ichivemba chitila tabashashilelola. What that simply means, don't leave things hanging. When you start something, when you start dialogue, finish it, conclude, and let the issue be a buried issue which will never arise again.
You stood against Bill 10 of the PF administration under your late brother Edgar Chagwalungu, the party you belonged to at some point. You fought Bill 10 tooth and nail. Today we are dealing with Bill 7 under the UPND. Of course, earlier you mentioned that the clauses or the proposals are almost the same. Of course, there's some other new proposals in there, such as, for example, the reduction of work experience of one to be appointed as a secretary to the cabinet. That is something new which has come via Bill 7 of the UPND. But the question is, what is your, I know you'd want to comment on that, but what is your position? Should we go ahead and amend the constitution? The argument from the UPND, and the president challenged the country. Can you tell me when is the right time to amend the constitution? Because the constitution can be amended at any time. So the issue of having elections or getting done with elections is null and void, according to him.
First and foremost, let me comment on the provision of reducing the experience period for one to be appointed as secretary to the cabinet. Surely, people of Zambia, you can't see the idea behind it. Which Zambian or which civil servant cannot see the idea behind it? President Hakainde Hichilema wants to appoint his own people, his own person. But among the people that he has, nobody has the 10-year experience. If I were Patrick Kanga, I would know that I'm on my way out as a result of that amendment. We wanted, as Zambia, from the beginning, that a person who should be civil servant number one must have a lot of experience at permanent secretary level before he is appointed at at the position of secretary to the cabinet. Why do you want to reduce it? You want to bring you qualified people to run the civil service? No, Mr. President. No, by UPND. That is not right. The secretary to the cabinet must be a person with requisite qualifications and a lot of experience. Because when you mess up the civil service, you mess up the lives of our people. There is no way that a permanent secretary who has only been permanent secretary for 5 years can go and supervise certain permanent secretaries who have been there for 7, 10 years. Permanent secretary who has no institution memory to go leave that clause the way it is. You have a pool of permanent secretaries who have been there, some of them from the Kaunda days. They can be permanent secretary with that requisite experience of 10 years. The whole idea, our brother wants to remove that because the people he wants to be secretary to the cabinet do not have that qualification. And it is dangerous to change the constitution to fit an individual. No wonder he's getting agitated and getting upset when the people say, no, we don't want this constitution amendment.
Should the constitution making process go through? Should it go through?
No. Bill 7 must not go through. Abash Bill 7. Bill 7 is poison. It's poisonous. Stop it. Stop it and stop it. Wakwebe mfo yakwano ko mutanshi. Ukwali nsoke takwa fuile bantu. Na alikwebele tabulapo. I have warned people of Zambia before on many issues. Don't do this. Don't do this. And mainly what I say has come to pass. So even today I'm warning you, don't accept Bill 7 the president is being mischievous.
Just a few days ago, Dr. Sishua, an historian, he wrote an article exposing or alerting the country that there could be some members of parliament who have gone into cahoots with the UPND administration for a possible bribe so that this bill can go through. You've been a member of parliament. What is your comment around that?
Well, to be specific and to tell the truth, maneuvers of compromising members of parliament when there are certain contentious issues have always been there at parliament. I remember during the NCC, we were approached. No, support us, we can do this for you, support us. We are going to pass a law that motor vehicles for parliamentarians will not be a loan, but a grant. Some of us stood our ground, and the NCC failed to go through. There is a possibility, but I want to speak for my MPs from PF. I doubt if there is anybody, PF MP, who is loyal to the party who can do that at the moment. I trust our MPs. I doubt only those who have shown that they are rebels to the PF. For those, it is possible. But for the other MPs who have been loyal to the party, who have never voted with the MMD, who have never shown any sign of being compromised, I can vouch for them that they can never do that because I trust them.
Honorable CHISHIMBA KAMBWILI, allow me to break this news to you in case you're not aware. At the time when you were in prison, you came out and you found that your party had been taken. You now have a new president in Robert Chavinga.
That is the biggest joke of the year. That is the biggest joke of the year. And by the way, I am among the 5 people that started PF.
Right.
I don't know where Chavinga came from. I don't know where Chavinga came from.
He's your leader today. He's your president.
Leader of who?
He's your president.
PF what president. A joke. The acting president of the Patriotic Front is Honorable Given Zayelo Luvinda. and all the members pay royalty to Lubinda, nobody else. That is why you saw when there were these confusions a few days ago, I personally called all the presidential candidates and said, I'm going to involve Mrs. Winner, Paul Umbia Wahelda, and Mukupa to come and meet all of us. We sit on the same table and discuss and iron out our problems. I called all of them. I galvanized them. And I called Balumbi, accepted. I called Mama Winner, accepted. I called Bamukupa, accepted. We had very good counsel. Because what was happening is that from the time they called for expression of interest for people to stand, these presidential candidates were not talking to each other. Their supporters taking advantage, dividing the party. But I thought we need unity, and I galvanized everybody. We had a very good, discourse. And today I can lift a phone and call Monduvile. Today I can lift a phone and call Makebi Zulu. Equally, Makebi Zulu can lift a phone and call Lubinda. Lubinda can lift a call at anyone. That is the way it should be. Where does it bring Shavinga in? Having a paper without followers is as good as having an ATM card with a zero balance. Having an ATM card with a zero balance. That is what Chavinga has. When he calls a press briefing, he's alone. Have you ever seen a political leader who is always alone? Then he has no following. But we respect the decision of the court in terms of the injunction. Because a court order or an injunction, whether right or wrong, defective or not, must be respected. Because we are a law-abiding party and we law-abiding citizens. Even if we suspect that there's some foul play behind the scenes, once the court says this, we must follow.
So this means that the convention is not going to be held?
I'm not the authority on that, but I can only tell you that the party is a law-abiding party.
Can your political party really bounce back come 2026 with all this confusion? And I will marry this to what President Hakainde Hichilema said yesterday. I think he was asked about that question to comment regarding the confusion in the opposition, although he didn't get deep into it, these being private issues. But I think something profound he mentioned was that it will not be easy for anyone or for him to be removed out of power come next year.
The problem,
he said you have to work hard.
The problem is he has no political experience. He has no political experience.
But he's the same person who beat you as a PF in 2021.
No, I'm not talking about winning elections. I'm talking about looking at issues in the correct perspective. For instance, he says, I don't know what he said about the confusion in PF. Amidst confusion comes a very good and positive thing. You know, democracy is about people aspiring, so many people competing. And when where there is competition, there are bound to be differences like what is happening in the PF. But once that is sorted out and everybody comes together, you remember what happened when President Michael Sata died. There was confusion and HH took advantage and said, let him be complacent. Let him continue to be complacent that there is confusion in PF. Akamonecha lengele imbwa no kwata amaseno. So for me, this confusion in PF is very healthy. Unless takuli abantu, it cannot be resolved. Look at what was just happening in 2 days. It's gone. It's resolved. So out of this confusion, but I'm not encouraging the confusion. But all I can tell you is that out of confusion comes good things. Mandela was in prison, beaten, insulted. He became president. Jesus Christ himself before he died, he told us, Mwilandidila, Mwileidila mweben. When women were weeping, oh, our Lord has been beaten, our Lord has been insulted. He said, women, do not cry for me, cry for you and your people. I'm telling HH, don't cry for PF, cry for your UPND and your mistakes.
In PF so far you are, I think, over 9 or 8 presidential aspirants so far. All of you want to become presidents of the PF. What is the problem? Why can't you dialogue?
Have I told you I want to be president of the PF? Have I told you that?
You're not contesting yourself?
No, I'm asking, have I told you?
Because I know that you are among the people that paid the 200,000.
I paid the 200,000 to express interest.
Right.
The time to announce will come, whether I'm standing or not.
Wow.
But mark my words, I paid the 200,000.
Meaning you are contesting?
I paid the 200,000.
To contest?
I paid the 200,000 to express interest. CHISHIMBA KAMBWILI. Thank you very much.
The question is, why all of you really lining up for that slot, which deserve to be given to one man or one woman to lead?
Every person who's born without ambition is not a person. Why would you stop people from exercising their right of
Doc, you are
aspiring?
different from other political parties. We have seen other political parties where, for example, there will be maybe 2 only, sometimes just one person goes unopposed.
Their political parties are not attractive. PF is attractive. Their political parties are not attractive. It's either they are not attractive or there's no democracy.
What is your, as we go now, I want you to face into the camera, what could be your prediction or your future analysis? Can the UPND retain power? And how has been the performance from the economic aspect? UPND came into government to deliver development. Have they delivered to guarantee them another victory come next year? What is your opinion?
You know, one time, I'll tell you something. One time, we were campaigning as PF, and I think it was in Ndola. There was a young man who was competing with Banakawandami. Huh? He was competing with Banakawandami to be adopted on PF ticket, and there was a big fight. PF will remember that. So this young man came to the stage and said, ninendeba MP, I'm the incoming MP. Mwalinjishwa sana ndewina, paka fwensofu paka benshi ndewina. Umuntu mwaishile imyokubo kwebere, iwe, uleba tuka wina, nangu chikabeshani, ni wano kwa baka la vota. Uleba tuka wina, nangu chikabeshani, ni wano kwa baka la vota, fwe vota ni fwe. So, the people of Zambia have looked at the performance of the UPND. And the onus of voting a government in lies in the people of Zambia. Even if the president can say, wakakose sana. Nibani aliye watu wakakose. PFU, citizen first, or no, he's telling the people of Zambia, mukakose, bakumfuni hapo. But if the people of Zambia have decided to remove him, if they have decided not to remove him, he will remain. So let us be careful as politicians what we say when we are excited. To say bakakose sana ule tunsi abena Zambia abakuvotele when no kubombata wabomba is an insult to the people of Zambia. If I were HH, I would have said, I would depend on the people. I have performed and the people will vote me. But to say bakakose banan, even here, I cannot say that, no, PF would definitely win. We are relying on the vote of the people of Zambia. But if it happened in Malawi, it can happen here. Thank you.
Doc, allow me to appreciate you and thank you so much for spending time to speak to the people of Zambia via KBN TV. You are a prominent leader in this country, as I mentioned earlier on in my preamble. Your CV speaks for itself, a fearless politician. If I'll ask this question, with all the contributions you have made to this country so far. If you were to die today, may God forbid, you're not dying tomorrow or anytime soon, only God knows. But if you died today, how would you want citizens of this country to remember you and the voice you have?
That I spoke for them, I spoke for the poor, and I'll continue speaking for the poor. My being in politics is for service, nothing else. I will always do what the people want. I will not pay lip service like what is happening today. You are being told Konkora Copper Mines is back, doing very well. There's nothing happening at KCM. You are being told Mopani is back. There's nothing happening at Mopani. Suppliers are not being paid. Contractors are not being paid. They are paid after 4 months. They are paid after 5 months. But you are telling the people everything is all right at Mopani. And I think, let me just conclude by saying, let's not mislead the people of Zambia. The president yesterday, I heard him say that we negotiated 49% shares in Mopani. That's an excellent lie. To the contrary, he sold 51% shares. We had all the shares, the 100% as government. We wanted a strategic partner, and we gave him 51%. Can you say that we negotiated 49? We just wanted, the mine was ours. We wanted a strategic partner. And instead of giving him maybe 30, we gave him 51. So we shouldn't say we negotiated. There was no negotiation on the shares. We were offloading some shares to a strategic partner. The buying of shares in Mopani was negotiated by President Edgar Lungu because Grenco surrendered when they wanted to put the mine on care and maintenance. There was pressure. You can't do this. You can't do this. In the wrong land, they said, okay, let's negotiate. We'll give you back all the shares that we held 100%. Then you pay us 1.5 billion kwacha. Is it 1.5 billion kwacha? For the new installations that we've done at Mopani, the new smelter, the new concentrator, the new shafts. So who negotiated the shares in Mopani? It was President Edgar Lungu's government and not HH. But our brother is always wants the good thing to be attributed to him and the wrong things to others. People of Zambia, there is nothing happening at KCM. What the Indians are doing at KCM, they are processing the dumps. There is no mining taking place. A little bit of it at Konkola. Nchanga underground, there's nothing happening. Nchanga open pit, there's nothing happening. So where our president gets information, Kabuswa, if you are lying to the man, you are being unfair to him. Secondly, Luansha mine. No, Luansha mine is back. 2,000 people have employed. Where? I live in Luansha. They are just still, pumping out the water. And when you talk about employment at Luansha Copper Mines, what kind of quality of employment you are talking about? What we want to see at Luansha is that if there will be people employed, let them be employed directly under Luansha Copper Mines. Don't take them to 15 MCC. Don't take them to contractors, because these contractors pay them 1,500 a month. And how do you expect a miner to survive with 1,500 kwacha a month? If you are creating employment at Mopani, let people be employed direct by Mopani. Because even those 2,000 jobs they are talking about, they are with the contractors who are paying people 2,500, 1,500, and you call that employment creation.
If you are with HH in one room for just even a minute, what message would you tell him if you are to meet President Hakainde Hichilema today?
Stop telling lies. Be real. Be realistic. Stop praising yourself. Let the people of Zambia praise you. Muchibemba beba tetuli shengoma we mwine no kushana ole shana. Tetuli shengoma we mwine no kushana ole shana. So this idea of we've done this, free education, we've done this will not help. What will help is let the people realize, yes, the president is working. This is what he has done for us. And let the people be coming to you and say, you have worked, Mr. President. Well done, Mr. President. Not when you are holding a press briefing, ntoteleniko. Tamuletotesha, ukutamule yasuka. Tuambie, Zambia forward, this corner. When people are not responding, they are not happy.
Doc, thank you so much for coming through to KBN TV.
Thank you very much.
Great.
But let me say one thing. What the Oasis Forum and the church mother bodies have done is not a weakness, it's a strength. When you take your fights, to the Lord in prayer, spiritually, you'd win easily than a physical fight. What they have said, instead of going on a demonstration, we are going to have a prayer rally at the Cathedral of Jesus Christ the King. That's the way to go. You know, when somebody wants to poke you to commit a wrong, tell them, I can't do this. I'll do the right thing. This is what the Oasis Forum has done. See you at the Cathedral for the prayer rally. And I appeal to all the people of Zambia in Lusaka, please, let's go to the Cathedral for the prayer rally. I thank you.
Thank you so much once again, Honorable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, I've been speaking to former Minister of Information as well as former Member of Parliament for Roni constituents, Honorable Dr. CHISHIMBA.